Time. Maddie now at the calendar. December 29th, 2025. What is the smallest thing that exists? For centuries, we believed it was the atom. Then we discovered that inside the atom there are even smaller particles. And inside those particles, energy fields. And inside those fields, something we can no longer touch or measure with certainty, the quantum. But there is something even smaller, more subtle, more invisible. The space between things. That void that separates one particle from another. That silence between two musical notes. That pause between two heartbeats. There, in that space that seems to be nothing, is where everything happens. Because particles are the heels, the points of stability, the places where something lands, anchors, manifests. But the talion, the law that connects those particles, that is the wave, the movement, the relationship, the invisible link that makes one particle know that another exists, even if they are separated by light years. The dance of protons and electrons. A proton is space. An electron is time. The proton remains in the nucleus, stable, heavy, defining the identity of the atom. The electron orbits, moves, dances around the nucleus, tracing probabilities, not certainties. You cannot know where the electron is and where it's going at the same time. You have to choose. Either you know its position or you know its movement. Space or time. Never both with absolute precision. And between them, the laws of physics and chemistry. Those rules that seem rigid but are actually elastic. They're the containment, the structure that allows the quantum, that ocean of infinite possibilities, not to collapse into chaos. They're the limits that make form possible. The physical and chemical laws are like the ley lines of the cosmos, the routes traced between particles. And when those routes stabilize, when the connections become constant, the elements appear. The elements, the forces of each territory. Imagine that chemical elements are the forces of each territory. Each element has its character, its frequency, its way of relating to others. Hydrogen is light, expansive, everywhere. Carbon is versatile, a builder, the basis of all organic life. Iron is dense, magnetic, the heart of planets and of our blood. And all of them are distributed throughout the world in specific proportions. Oxygen dominates 46% of the Earth's crust. Silicon, 28%. Aluminum, 8%. Iron, 5%. And so on, in increasingly smaller percentages, until we reach the rare elements, those that only appear under extreme conditions, in the heart of stars or in the moments of their death. Each territory on Earth has its elemental composition. There are places rich in iron, where the earth is red and magnetic. There are places rich in silicon, where crystal grows from the bowels of the mountain. There are places where carbon is compressed for millions of years until it becomes diamond. And those elements are not still. They move. They transform. Natural cycles like gravity, pressure, heat, time, generate new elements or rearrange the original ones. Carbon under pressure becomes diamond. Iron in the Earth's core generates a magnetic field that protects life. Oxygen joins with hydrogen and water appears. Just as some of us move through territories changing the world with cultures, constructions, wars, agriculture. We are like those electrons that modify protons, creating new elements. And the bonds we generate are the laws. The lines. The cosmos in a grain of sand. The stars are made of the same materials as we are. The calcium in your bones was forged inside a star that died billions of years ago. The iron in your blood was born in the explosion of a supernova. You are literally stardust. And because each particle is the same throughout the cosmos, because we are made of the same substance as galaxies, there is a connection. An invisible network that links us with everything that exists. When you move, the stars move with you. And when they move you. This is not poetry. It's quantum. But we don't perceive it because our angles of perception are limited by the physicochemical and astrophysical laws that contain us. We see the world as something solid, separate, fixed. But the true reality doesn't occur between humans and planets. It occurs between waves and particles, between the world of ideas and the world of form, in the ocean of cosmic mind. And therefore, the real rhythms occur in the pulses that give rise to the elements, the cycles that order matter, the times that determine when a wave collapses into a particle and when a particle expands into a wave. The stellar rhythms. That entire map of particles, elements, waves, and laws manifests in the stellar rhythms. We move in cycles of lunations. The moon waxes, wanes, disappears, is reborn. Every 29 days. Each lunar cycle marks an internal process, a phase of sowing, growth, harvest, and rest. Women know it in their bodies. Farmers know it in their fields. The tides know it in their rising and falling. We move in solstices and equinoxes, for annual doors that mark the rhythm of the seasons. The winter solstice, when darkness is maximum and light begins to return. The spring equinox, when day and night balance and life is reborn. The summer solstice, when light is maximum and energy is at its peak. The autumn equinox, when day and night balance again and life withdraws inward. We move in eclipses. Those moments when the moon and sun align in such a way that one hides the other. They are portals, thresholds. Moments when the veil between the visible and invisible thins and we can see what is normally hidden. If the moon and sun were two eyes, eclipses would be the third eye. An eye for an eye. And each mountain, each element, each territory, a tooth for a tooth. The law of Talion not as revenge, but as correspondence. As mirror. As reflection of what is above is below, what is inside is outside. The game and its rules. Within the game of life, as in every game, you need to know how to move the pieces. You need to know how to wait. Understand the turns. Know the rules of the game. You cannot sow in winter and expect it to grow. You cannot harvest in spring if you didn't sow in autumn. You cannot force the growth of something that needs to mature in darkness. Those rules form a calendar of action. A temporal map that tells you when to act and when to wait. When to advance and when to retreat. When to speak and when to be silent. And that calendar is not arbitrary. It is based on stellar cycles, on the constellations the sun travels through over the year, on the transits of planets, on the phases of the moon, on the eclipses that mark points of rupture and transformation. That's why this year we will travel the map of Earth through its elements by means of the calendar of its transformation in the stellar cycles of constellations. We will mark alchemical steps in moons, suns, and eclipses. We will learn to read the board, to know the rules, to move our pieces with consciousness. Because the most invisible territory of Earth is the one that creates everything visible. The territory of time. The territory of rhythms. The territory of waves that connect particles and generate form. And that territory has its own laws. Are you willing to live by the rules of the game that Earth set for us with its rhythms to traverse its most invisible territory?